honest. Are you cheating on your dreams or the visions that you have of the life that you want to be living? Are you flirting with distraction? Are you sneaking around with self-doubt? And or are you ghosting your vision, your dreams altogether? If you are, if this is what's happening, then it's time for a relationship check-in. Not just with your dreams and your visions, but with yourself as well. That is what we're going to get into in this episode. We're going to talk about staying committed to the life that you want to be living, checking in on your dreams and on your relationship with that dream or with those dreams, and making sure that your future self, this is kind of cute and might sound weird, making sure that your future self doesn't feel stood up by you, by your present self. And of course, I've got a rebel challenge for you at the end of the episode. I've also am going to mix in some check-ins, some relationship check-in prompts to check in with your dream and with yourself to keep those dreams top of mind and fall back in love with your dreams and your vision. So let's get going. Welcome to the Rebel Manifestors podcast, where we flip the script on manifestation by focusing on becoming the badass already living your dreams. If you're done playing small and are ready to live out loud as the rock star of your own damn life, then you are in the right place. This isn't about waiting for the universe to drop magic in your lap. It's about taking up space, cranking up the volume on your vision, and making shit happen on your terms. The life you dream about is not out of reach. It's waiting for you to show up, own it, and live it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Rebel Manifestors podcast. It is February, and oftentimes the theme or the topic of relationships comes up in February. And so my personal or my spin on that topic and that theme is checking in on the relationship with your dreams, with the visions that you have, your goals, the life that you want to be living, and mixed in the relationship with yourself. Because I have talked about many times, and I'm sure I will, including this time, continue to talk about how the relationship that we all have with ourselves is really the most important relationship. It is truly the only relationship that is lifelong. From the beginning of our life to the end of our life, the relationship with ourselves is the only one that lasts that entire span. So why wouldn't we treat it as the most important relationship that it is? So that's what we're going to talk about today, putting a relationship spin or putting our dreams, and visions and our future self in the context of relationships. So enjoy and let's see what comes of this relationship check-in. So, when a relationship starts, right? Any relationship, whether it be romantic, it's more intense when it's romantic, this part that I'm talking about, but like that infatuation phase, right? Like you're just obsessed with the person, or even if it's a friendship, it's like, oh, you're really excited to hang out with them. You love that you found a friend with common interests or similar experiences, similar goals, whatever that connection is. So in general, kind of like that initial infatuation phase, and remembering why you wanted to be in that relationship, why you jumped into that relationship, and in a romantic sense, why you did fall in love with that, with that person, on whatever level. I'm putting the spin on it of, Valentine's and romantic love, but this applies to all relationships, the topics and the concepts that I'm going to talk about. So hopefully I can make it make cohesive sense. So turning that into our dream and vision, when you first dream up of a vision, it's all butterflies, right? Like all this possibility, all these things that you want to do. So you're the excitement, the motivation, the yes, I'm going to go do it. Yes, I'm going to have all these things. And oh my God, it's going to be fabulous, right? The butterflies, the excitement, what's another word? Just everything feels possible. It's new, it's beginning. And that is an exciting and fun time, right? So thinking about your dream, your vision, whatever that, whatever the big vision is, or an aspect of that dream and vision, think about what actually made you fall in love with that vision in the first place. Was it the looking at like the freedom to do things? Was it the things that you're going to be able to experience? Is it being in a certain place? Is it the excitement of achieving, a certain level or goal? What is the thing that made you fall in love with that vision in the first place? And a thing that you could do real quick, now as you're listening to this, or anytime that you're kind of checking in, is to just close your eyes and visualize like that first spark, like that whoosh, right? And if you don't visualize well, like see actual images in your brain or your mind when you close your eyes to visualize, just imagine, use your imagination and think, what was that initial first spark? What was it that excited you about this dream? Was it someone sharing their experience? Was it something that you saw that sparked an idea for you? Was it seeing someone actually achieve that dream or experience it and you're like, yes, that is something I want? So just close your eyes and see if you can think back, or if closing your eyes doesn't work, just kind of, use your imagination, focus on the spot. If you have a candle or something, or, you can kind of stare off into the candle flame. But what was that first spark? What did it feel like? Like, did it feel exciting? Did it feel like possibility? Did it feel fun? Right? What was it that felt like when that spark ignited? And what did it feel like? And what feeling can you name it? Like, what is the feeling that you would give that initial woof, that spark, that idea? See if you can give it an actual feeling. And if that doesn't come to mind right away, no worries. No worries. Just keep thinking, or kind of focus on what was that initial spark that gave you all the excitement and that made you want to go for it in the first place. So that's how it all starts, right? It's exciting, it's fun, we're motivated, we want to do the things, we want to spend time, with our dreams or with the person, if we're kind of just using that comparison. And then we kind of go through, things keep going. And then there's maybe like a check-in point. Like, just something kind of like, oh, something doesn't feel off, or something feels off, or you just kind of notice that it's not so exciting, or you're not just so gung-ho about it. Now, that could be any number of things that cause that as well. If we're talking about a dream and our vision, maybe you have started taking action, and maybe you did start, researching or looking into it. And then it gets to a point maybe that it feels hard, or it feels kind of challenging, or you had a setback maybe where you wanted or had a certain expectation, or you even took a step and what, it felt awkward, it didn't go as well as you wanted it to, whatever it could be, like a setback, or just a point where it starts to feel hard and challenging, and the newness, the excitement, that initial excitement has worn off. And that is something that happens naturally. So don't judge yourself about that. That happens naturally. It's not something that is sustainable the entire way through. And I think that is also a time when people think, oh, well, it must not be for me because I'm not as excited. I don't have that passion for it anymore. And it is a good opportunity to check in with that. But just know that that is kind of a natural progression, right? So it takes commitment, and it takes intentionality, and any type of relationship, whether it be with another person, with yourself, or with your dreams and visions, takes work and commitment. So some I was going to say red flags, but some signs, maybe signs is a better word, so it doesn't feel so critical, but some signs that you're falling out of alignment, or you're kind of like distancing yourself from that dream and that vision that you have, or you start making excuses. Oh, I'm too tired. I don't have time. I don't know what I need to do. Excuses take any number of form. There can be phrased or come across in any number of ways. You're feeling unmotivated. You may have started taking some steps or doing some things, and either you're not seeing results, and that might be the thing that creates the feeling of being unmotivated. You're doing all the things, but you don't feel like you're making any progress. Feeling disconnected from your dream or your vision, and or unmotivated, and then constantly, another sign is constantly questioning if your vision is realistic. Like, that's those, who am I to think I want that? Or other people might say that to you. Who are you to think that you can do that? Or who are you to think that you can achieve such grand visions? Or that's not for you. Sometimes family members or people kind of in the same circle as you, like, oh, that's not for us. That's not for people like us. That's for other people. So it starts to feel unrealistic, maybe, either from your own internal dialogue or other people's external dialogue, and a combination of both of them as well is possible. So in these moments where you see the signs or you notice the signs that it's a good time for a check-in, a good relationship check-in, questions, or some questions for that are: if your future self could send you a message right now, what would they say? Like, in this moment where you're feeling whatever the feeling is, whatever sign that you recognized, you could keep these questions jotted down in your planner or in a journal, or just kind of like an inspiration book, whatever works for you, because the circumstances are going to be different, right? At the different times that you check in with your relationship, with your dreams. So if your future self could send you a message right now, what would they say? Just start writing about that. Imagine, think of future you, just see what comes to mind as you start writing. And then the second question is, are you keeping the promises that you made to them, to that future version of you? And you might think that I didn't make any promises, but going for that dream, deciding that you want to have that dream or achieve that goal or be experiencing those things, is in and of itself a promise to that, to become that version of you who is living that experience, who is achieving those goals, who has reached those dreams. So you're making this understood promise, because the version of you that got excited, like the current version of you that does not yet have that experience, is not that version yet. That's why you're not experiencing it. You're not that version of you. So are you keeping the promises you made to them? And if you didn't really, which most of us don't, make that promise at the beginning, think about what would that promise look like? What would the phrasing of that promise look like? And for example, if you are following or pursuing a health, wellness, physical activity type of goal, the promise that was kind of understood is that I'm going to do a certain level of physical activity, or I'm going to do a certain level of changing of my dietary habits. So those not implied, inferred, maybe. I'm not sure if I'm choosing the correct word, but that are kind of promises that are understood, that go along with that goal or that dream that you're pursuing. So that's kind of like the infatuation phase is all excitement, and then noticing the signs when that infatuation and motivation and gung ho-ness starts to wear off. And so then, if we don't check in, like, let's say just kind of, oh, the newness wore off, right? And you just kind of started distancing yourself. Well, then sometimes, now don't, I'm not general, I'm not putting, judging people. I'm not putting, any specific people in this next segment. It's just my comparison, right? My comparison to a relationship with, a people relationship and a relationship with your dreams. So the affair, so to speak, who or what, and notice that or what is very key. It doesn't always have to be a who in that sense. Who or what are you cheating with? So let's get real. And this is what I mean by, the cheating phase when it comes to our dreams. In those moments where we start saying, I'm too busy, I don't have the time to do it. I'm too tired. I've had such a long day or a long week. What are you actually prioritizing instead? And know that when in this transition point, like when you're in your current circumstances and you're moving to a new set of circumstances, there is going to be this overlap where they're kind of both in existence or both kind of drawing attention from you. You still have the responsibility to your job. Let's say if you're starting your own business or something like that. You still have the responsibility of your job, and then you need to put energy and focus into also starting, building, growing, creating an ongoing business. And so there will be a time where it feels heavier than it will once you get past that phase, right? But we need to understand that that's also a lot of the times where we start saying, oh, it's I'm too tired, I'm too busy, I don't have the time. And that's because we're simply not prioritizing. Because I'm sure, like myself, you can think of many experiences or instances in your life where you might have been tired or you might have been busy, but you found time or you prioritized something that you wanted to do anyway. And if we want to do the things badly enough, or it's important enough to us, we will find the time. And I will be the first to raise my hand and say, for a large portion of my life, probably well into my 30s and maybe even into my 40s, it's like, oh, I'm too tired. I'm just, I did not have that self drive. And looking back at those experiences, they were not important enough to me. Now, trying those experiences also led me to find and discover what is important, and like my business and things that I have now. So it's a process. Nothing is ever wasted as long as we look at the information that we gain from it. So I am the first to raise my hand and say that was me for a large part of my life. I'm too busy. It's too hard. I'm too tired. I don't have the time. All sorts of versions of phrases and sentiments like that. I have been very guilty of doing those. So when we say that, though, just know that's also an awareness, or to be aware that that just means we're prioritizing something else. And that something else might be rest. That something else might be, not doing the hard thing. And just that's also not a judgment, a time for judgment. It's just like, oh, this is what I'm prioritizing. And then you start to look at what can I start shifting? How can I schedule things differently? What boundaries do I need to set? So all of these things, all of this input, all of this awareness is definitely information that you can use however you choose to use it, right? So a lot of the usual suspects that lead to this, I'm too busy, I'm too tired, it feels too far away, it feels hard. First of all is comparison. We're comparing ourselves to someone who has already achieved the dream. We're comparing ourselves possibly to what we see on social media or on mainstream media like TV, movies, magazines, all those things. So we're scrolling or looking and wishing that we had what we're looking at instead of actually getting up and doing it, or instead of continuing with the steps that we started. So comparing our situation, your situation, to anyone else's situation or someone else's. The second one is instant gratification. So we choose the short term comfort over the long term growth. And oh my God, again, this episode is speaking to me of the past versions of me. Because I definitely was one that was of that mindset, or, wishful thinking type of mindset. It's like, oh, well, I've decided that I want this. I've said that I want this. I've started to do a couple things. So why am I not seeing instant results? Why am I not seeing instant results? Because I said I want it and I started. I started doing things, but I definitely didn't stick with it when it got hard, or when the excitement of it wore off and it was like the mundane day-to-day things. And so that's why I was looking for the instant gratification instead of looking at the long game, the long-term results that continuing with these steps would lead to. And the third one is self-doubt and fear. That's where it's like ghosting, what I said at the intro, ghosting your own dreams before they develop, or before in your mind or in our minds, we might think before they ghost us, where we start to think they're unrealistic and we can't actually achieve them. So then it's like, oh, we give into that doubt and fear so that we don't actually have to experience that letdown or that failure, perceived failure. So, in those moments where you might notice these things, comparison, instant gratification, and self doubt or fear, that's a good time for another relationship check in. Another set of questions for you. So, when you're noticing these things, a question that you might ask is, imagine your future self is sitting across the table from you, right? Like that version of you who's already living this experience. Are they proud? Are they frustrated with you? Are they waiting for you to show up? Just sitting there. Where are they? They said they'd be here. They said they'd coming. So, what is that version of you? What would they be doing? Imagining that future version of you sitting across the table from you. What would they be saying to you? What would be the message or the information that they're giving to you? Next, what would they tell you to stop doing? And what would they tell you to start or keep doing? Taking ourselves out of the right here tunnel vision and looking at that bigger picture and just imagining what that version of us, that future version of us, would tell us to do and tell us to stop doing or not do, really can give you some good insight as well. All of these questions really do, these check-in questions. So now we've had the infatuation, excitement phase that kind of led to some petering out, not so excitement, then checking in with like what are we cheating? What or who are we cheating on our dream with? And now we're here, we come to the rebuilding, the reigniting, the recommitting, whatever works for you, right? Because we can always get back on track with our dreams. Our dreams are for us. If you truly have a dream, it is for you. We don't know. You don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take, how it's actually going to show up. And our brain wants to know those things. Our brain wants to know the steps, wants to know the timing. And that also contributes to that comparison because it looks like other people made it faster, got it faster. But we don't know their backstory. We don't know when they actually started. We don't know how consistent they were, or weren't, or whatever their circumstances were. So the rebuilding and recommitment phase, our dreams need attention, passion, and consistently, just like any relationship with a person does, and including ourselves. Don't forget, I'm also including this relationship with ourselves in this. So our dreams need attention. They need for us to keep them alive, like thinking about them, keep them top of mind, and the excitement of what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, and how it's just going to come into existence, into being reality. So, time for some dream therapy, if you will, to reignite the passion, right? Here are some things that you can do. And by dream therapy, I mean like the therapy, like therapy between you and like the relationship of you and your dream. As I said that, I'm not sure how that came across. So, here are some things that you can do to reignite that passion. Date your dream again. Go on dates with your dream. Make intentional time to vision or visualize, even if it's a few minutes a day. If you haven't made a vision board for your dream, create a vision board. It doesn't have to be big or take up a lot of space. You can do it in a journal. You could do it online, create a digital one. But date your dream again. Spend some time with it. Get excited about getting to know it and visualizing it, imagining yourself living those experiences. Next is rewrite your vows. So get clear on your why. Why did you want that dream in the first place? Why did you start pursuing it? Why did you say yes to going after that dream. Um, and then, so what did I say here? Looking at my notes, get clear on your why, and commit to it again, recommit to it. It can be in a journal, in the form of a journal. Um, it could be a letter, like you're writing a letter to your dream. A journal prompt that I have for you is I am staying committed to my vision because. And if you want to talk to it as a living thing, you could say, I am staying committed to you because, and you would be talking to your dream or your vision. What is your why? And let that guide your answers, or let's see what comes up for you as you write why you're staying committed to your vision. Create a manifestation playlist. This is something I talk about all the time because I have a manifestation playlist, and that will be linked around wherever you're listening to or watching this. It's a totally free playlist, and it's full of songs that I think are designed to make you feel like anything is possible. So, whether you use that manifestation playlist or you create your own, I really do encourage you to pick and choose songs that mean something to you. Use my list as inspiration or just use it for fun, when you just need some good music to listen to. But I think it's full of songs that really kind of do support that belief and thinking that anything is possible. So create your manifestation playlist or use mine as a starting point to help shift your energy, to again get excited and get committed, and pick songs that make you feel like the rock star, right? Like that make you feel like you are a badass, the badass, living the dreams and the visions that you committed to in the first place. And then visualize and embody. So instead of just thinking about your vision, which is important, especially during the journal prompts, if you're doing them in a writing exercise, how can you start being the person who already has it? How can you start showing up as the person living that version of yourself, or that version of your life? And I have a very simple example, but it is something that very definitely I recently did and have started doing that I have not done before. And so the time that I'm recording this, it's February 2025. Um, the what's going on politically and things around in our country. And so one thing that I've done with things that I don't agree with, I actually called my senators and representatives and sent emails and looked into, looking up the numbers and actually calling. And this is something that I have known at least my entire adult life, that is something that is possible, that is something that people do. But I I embodied that future me who, when I looked at that version of me, speaks up and says when things don't feel right, when I don't agree with things, instead of just letting them, seeing how things play out or assuming that other people are going to, do it for me, not for me, but that enough other people will do it, that it will make a difference. So I am what? How old am I? 52? I'm going to be 53 in a couple months. And so, for the first time in my adult life, voting life, I actually called my representatives, left voicemails, sent emails, and did that several times. And I will continue to do that because there are issues that are coming up that I don't agree with, that I don't believe in. And so, stepping into, I have this right, I'm going to exercise it. Now, that might seem very simple, and the actual step of it was, but it's just that transition from a past version of me who did not do that, who didn't take the time, who didn't prioritize that. Um, and that's how I'm embodying that version of me right now. So, what things can you do as that future version of you? And that can be anything. That could be anything from the way you dress, putting on colors and clothes and things that you only that feel good, to saying things, to food you eat, to habits that you have. It can be any number of things. So just ask yourself that, what would that VIP future badass version of me be doing? Habits, activities, socializing? Do you go out with your friends more? What is it that that version of you does, and start doing it in the capacity that you can right now. So that was the walkthrough of the relationship comparison. Now I have the Rebel Challenge for you, which is something that I started doing a few episodes back, and it's simply an exercise or an activity that you can do throughout the week. I invite you to do it throughout the week. You can also come back to it anytime you need it and just keep it in your toolbox so that you can access it, right? So the Rebel Challenge for this week and falling back in love with your vision is to spend 10 minutes visualizing how you want to feel this year. So that could be done in a just playing music and visualizing, like I talked about, or journaling for 10 minutes and how you want to feel. And note, let's see, how did I write this? So ask yourself or visualize how you want to feel this year, and try not to focus so much on what you want to do, but how you want to feel. Do you want to feel confident? Do you want to feel secure? Do you want to feel excited? Do you want to feel alive? Do you want to feel audacious? That's my word for this year. I want to feel audacious. And that example that I gave about calling my representatives, again, may not be something that's like super bold, but it's audacious because it's like, oh, that version of me is actually voicing my opinion and taking advantage of this right that I have to do so. So for me, that feels audacious. There are many levels of audacious as well that, I've done also and that will look to continue doing throughout the year. So close your eyes. Maybe you put on, have a candle going or some incense. Um, Pick a song intentionally that makes you feel upbeat, excited, or any way that you want to feel. And then just vision it for a bit, write it out as the music is playing, and you have like this feel good vibe going on. So that is the Rebel Challenge. Take 10 minutes at least once this week to visualize how you want to feel. And then when you really connect with that feeling, then you start to identify what actions and steps you can take to help you feel that way. Here is simply, I'm going to also give you, because I love journal prompts, just a bonus general journal prompt. If I was already living the life I want, how would I show up today? Tying back to the promise, I guess it's 2 journal prompts, not 1. The second one is, what's one small promise I can make to my future self right now and actually keep? So this one actually inspires you or asks you to make an actual promise to yourself instead of just an implied or inferred, understood. That's what I landed on, right? Understood promise. So in recap, your dream isn't dead. It's not dead just because you stop paying attention to it. It needs your attention, and so does your future self. And you need to maintain and nurture this relationship with both your dream and your future self. Take the Rebel Challenge and spend 10 minutes with your vision, visualizing and jotting it down or whatever way works for you. I encourage you to tag me on social media, Patty Diaz Rebel Manifestor. You can also do the hashtag Rebel Manifestor. I'm sorry, Rebel Challenge. Rebel Challenge. And if I see that, I get noticed, I will share your Rebel Challenge on my stories as well. So, if you do something or if you take an action or if you just, put a picture of it, whatever it is, if you feel inspired to tag me, and I come up, I get that notification, I will share that so that I can support and cheer you on as well. And next week's episode, I think it's confidence. Like, confidence is a rebel's best friend. And then the following week, I am going to actually do an episode about how music and manifesting work so well together. And that's probably something I will check in on fairly regularly as well. So that's what I have for you guys today. Go check in with and nurture and then rekindle that commitment to your dreams and to yourself. And let's start making some shit happen. I'll see you guys next week.